into some Azure AD pieces here. There's some neat stuff coming down the pipe here. So popping right into this. If you are using Workday as your HR platform, there is a bunch of updates around integration from Workday or HR as a master into Active Directory / Azure Active Directory. Okay. The concept here is that HR drives user provisioning and deprovisioning, and the IT can get out of that work a little bit. And HR determines who's getting hired. When they get hired, they get an account created automatically, those kind of things. So disabling of the Azure AD account disables account in Azure AD if the hire process is rescinded, right? So HR can control the fact that this user left employment and those kind of things. Okay. Azure AD Graph API updates. If you are talking to the Azure AD Graph, not to be confused with the Microsoft Graph. Microsoft Graph is like the one monster API that you can talk to get to all kinds of services in Office 365, Azure being one of them. Prior to the Microsoft Graph existing, there was an Azure AD Graph API specific to the Azure AD service, right? That's going away.
Wait, they would rename things, the names of other things that you would use?
Shocking, absolutely. I'll have to help Bynes understand.
Thanks for that clarification.
I'll get him through it, yes. So yeah, if you're using Azure AD Graph, stop, it's going away. The features are moved into the Graph API. And there's a link here of how to get off of that if you're using that. Okay. Next slide, we've got access reviews. This is fantastic. This is part of your cloud governance strategy for identity and access management. Who has access to what? You can target that to specific groups and users now. You can automate this through the graph if you're interested. Another really cool feature that I've been waiting for a long time. This was one thing why people still used ADFS. If you're using ADFS and the reason you're using it is so that people can sign in with their email address, not just their username, that feature is now in public preview on Azure. So the concept is if you have usernames that are different than their primary email address, then you should pay attention. Okay, so that allows us to authenticate to Azure with an email address that's different than their username without having to go change people's UPN or their username to match their email address. Okay, so that's a big deal. It's called alternate login, alternate ID login, and ADFS has had it for years, and it's now available for Azure AD native authentication. Pretty slick feature. Updates to remote desktop. If you need to RDP into servers and you want to secure that over the internet without opening port 3389 to the internet, which if you're doing that, please stop, come talk to us. Someone will compromise you. App proxy allows us to publish remote desktop services through the web and securely put that behind Azure single sign-on, multi-factor, etc. Another really cool thing that is now general availability, a lot of people are not even aware of this, so I wanted to bring it up here. The ability for end users to go to mysignins.microsoft.com and see exactly where their account has been logged into from, what device was used, what IP address, what location on the planet. The user can then report that wasn't me or this was me. So Microsoft will report this looks like it's risky behavior. Was this really you? And if you say no, and it was a successful login, the user immediately gets walked through password reset. Okay, so super helpful. Administrators should all go out and hit this link right now, mysignins.microsoft.com, and start becoming familiar with what this what information this shares with you. Okay.